Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. This is Tim Shurr, and today we're talking about why your vision has to be so strong. Here's the question. What's going on inside the minds of top achievers that cause them to make extraordinary breakthroughs both personally and professionally? My name is Tim Shurr, and I invite you to join me as we take a deep dive into the unconscious mind and discover how to transform your biggest dreams into a reality. Welcome to the How to Be Mesmerizing podcast. Everybody, welcome to the podcast. So I'm heading into the office today. I've got some exciting things going on, a few clients to take care of and empower and supercharge their success. And then I've got some networking meetings with some really cool people that I haven't seen for quite a while. So I'm excited about today. And then I'll be back at the office shooting more videos for one of my corporate clients and then for you. So I wanted to chat with you just for a few minutes on the drive and talk about why your vision has to be so strong. And your vision is your purpose for doing what you do. You know, they say you got to have a why that's so big it makes you cry. And basically what that means is if you have a goal that you're trying to accomplish, why are you trying to accomplish it? What's it going to ultimately do for you in your life? Is it just going to bring you more money? Is it just going to get things checked off your to-do list? Or is it actually growing you as a human being? You know, a lot of times I think that, the question that we have to ask ourselves is who do we have to become in order to achieve our big goals, right? And that's what your vision is really all about. Who do I need to become? Who do I have to grow into? What kind of new level of awareness? What new beliefs? What new perspectives do I need to have happen inside of me for me to create the kind of effect or transformation around me that I want to have in this world? And why do I really want that? You know, why does it really matter? And for me personally, my vision is to transform the lives of 10 million people. And then once I get there, well, I'll probably adjust again, but transform the lives of 10 million people, teaching people how to love themselves at a deeper level, and then how to love and respect others in a more effective way. Now, why does this matter to me? Well, there's two reasons. First, I grew up with terrible anxiety. I had horrible anxiety. I was always nervous and worried and afraid of everything. And then I would mask it and be angry and stressed and hyper and frustrated. I would chase approval and then never get it. And, I would do all kinds of stupid things to try to get people to like me or to get people to want me to be a part of whatever it is that they're doing because I just didn't feel like I was enough. And even when I did all those dumb things that, whether I remember one time I was in my early 20s and I got my first credit card, which I don't know who in the world would give me a credit card, but I got one. And so I was sitting at a table with about, I would say 12 of our friends, which, should have been enough that I was hanging out. But oh no, I had to be the life of the party and always cracking jokes and always, being a smart aleck. And then at the end of the party, I had this idea that I'm just going to pay for everybody's dinner, right? Now, I don't know where that idea came from because the next idea was, are you crazy? You can't afford that. You can barely afford your own meal. And my girlfriend was with me. I can barely afford our meals. What makes me think I'm going to go and just buy everybody dinner? But that emotional need overrode my logic, and out of my mouth comes the words, I'm going to buy dinner for everybody tonight. And a couple of my friends looked at me and they're like, you don't have to do that. Don't worry about that. And then I insisted because I couldn't go back because then I would have been embarrassed. And then it would have said a whole line of, negative thoughts and beating up on myself. And so I said, no, I want to. And people are like, all right, great. And then afterwards, I was like, what have I done? And then my girlfriend was looking at me and she's like, what have you done? Why did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. And so, because I didn't have the confidence back then to say, I wanted people to feel like, I was special because I'm trying to make them feel special. And so that's one of the reasons why I learned over studying so hard for so long, how how to overcome that anxiety and how to feel safe and secure inside, and how to love myself and not chase approval but attract it to me, and how to not chase success but draw it to me. And that inner peace and inner confidence is amazing. And so now I want everybody to feel that. I want everybody that's ready to have that experience, because I didn't know how to create that. So, and I didn't have anybody around me that knew how to really teach me that. And so as a result, I spent years going to libraries and renting audiobooks and listening to them on cassette tapes. I would get a cassette tape and stick it in my Walkman, and I would just walk for hours, listening to Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Wayne Dyer, and all of these amazing people that Zig Ziglar was another one, all these people that really taught me that you have to learn to believe in yourself and value yourself, and then be of value to others, and how to do that, right? So I find that a lot of people and a lot of coaches and a lot of books and a lot of training programs tell you what you should do, but then they don't tell you how to do it. And it's the how do you do it that matters so much, right? It's how do you build self-esteem? How do you build confidence? How do you build self-worth? What do you do in your mind to cause you to feel confidence that allows you to lean in? And so I spent all these years figuring this out. And so I want to help other people while I'm here, because it gives me a huge amount of satisfaction and joy. Now, the second reason I do this is because when I look out in the world, I see how much anxiety there is, how much mistrust, how much hate, how much anger, how much negativity. And there's so much love. There's so much goodness out in the world, but we're not shown that goodness. We're shown all the hate and all the bad things that people do all the time. And it just causes us to feel more disconnected and more mistrusting. And we just keep busting out everyone. I mean, the Catholic Church, is getting nailed all the time because of all the bad things that, all the cover-ups, right? It's like you can't even trust your church, right? You can't, so it just feels like there's so many areas of life, if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican or you're an independent, or you're a Muslim or you're a Catholic or you're a Jew. It's just like everybody's mistrusting everybody else. Everybody's blaming and pointing the finger. And it comes from insecurity. And that insecurity causes anxiety. And that anxiety causes a whole bunch of defense, right? So we go into self-pity or we go into blame. We shut down and hide and isolate, or we become aggressive and we attack. And you see both of it happening all the time. And so I know that these skills that I've learned, what people will call emotional intelligence, your EQ, or how to train your mindset, or how to be more mindful, self-awareness, self-mastery, self-actualization. These are all the terms to describe taking charge of what's driving you and developing emotional maturity. And our world really lacks emotional, psychological, and spiritual maturity. And it's a shame. It's unfortunate when you look at people who have taught love. Like I always say that, in the Lutheran teachings, Christians believe that there was one perfect person that came to earth, and his name was Jesus. And he came and he taught love. That's all he taught. Love one another. So we crucified him. That makes sense, right? And then look at what, if you look at Buddhism, and you look at the Dalai Lamas, and you look at the people that were teaching that train of thought, that spirituality, which was mindfulness and love. They didn't even want to hurt earthworms, right? So what do? We attack. We blow them up, right? Now notice I say we. A lot of people say, well, I didn't do it. I support them, right? However, we collectively as human beings have done this because we have not together as a human species rose up and said, we're not tolerating this anymore. There's too many of us that say, well, it's not my problem, or there's nothing I can do, or there's other things that I'm trying to solve. I'm trying to save the whales, or save the dogs, or save the children, or save whatever, save the planet. right? And so we don't really ever come together and rally against one thing. If we did, it'd be pretty amazing. Like, I was a part of the Rotary International group, and they had one mission, and it was to wipe out polio. And they pretty much did. Like 99%, they wiped it out. And then it started creeping back a little bit again. But 99% wiping it out is pretty sensational for something that had crippled so many people, including one of our past presidents. And so when you group together and you focus on one particular thing and you get everybody doing it, well, you won't get everybody because there's too many powerful people out there that aren't interested in that. They're not interested in world peace. They're not interested in helping everybody. They're very interested on themselves. Like the weapons industry, war is very lucrative. Why do you think we have wars all the time? It's because people are making billions of dollars. They're not concerned about the human sacrifice. All they're concerned about is the money that they're making. And so when you have that, now that's the minority of people though. The majority of people could come together and rally. And I believe that in some ways that's finally starting to happen because of the internet. With the internet, we are able to come together and share information, and you're seeing people that at one time would be considered kings or pharaohs, right? People of huge power and wealth, and now they're getting leveled, right? Now they're getting busted. Now they're getting held accountable for their actions, which is great. I mean, that's amazing. And I believe that that's going to continue to happen. But as it happens, what we're going to find is that there's more and more people in power that are doing atrocious things, and it's going to deepen the mistrust. It's going to widen the gap. And whether you view the current president's, whether you like him or not, Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, he is not a very good leader. So I've been teaching mesmerizing leadership for, the last decade, and he's a terrible leader. He's made money, he's successful, but he creates fights. He doesn't bring people together. He doesn't listen to anybody. If his own advisors try to give him feedback, he fires them. And so he's very arrogant and self-righteous. And it's unfortunate because you're just seeing more and more problems come out as a result. And it has nothing to do with politics. It just has to do with his leadership style. So if you're sitting there right now and you're going, Tim, I used to like your podcast, but now all of a sudden I don't because you don't like the same guy I like. Well, then you haven't been listening to my podcast at all. And so my podcast is about staying open-minded, getting different perspectives, taking in different ways of looking at things instead of closing your mind and keeping it shut. Why don't you jump out of an airplane with a parachute that stays shut and see how well that works out for you? You have to keep your mind open just like you'd want that parachute to open, and so that you can keep adding to the knowledge pool, so you can keep getting more awareness. The worst leaders ever are the ones who are like, I don't need this, I already know everything. They're the ones that usually need this stuff the most. And so, again, when I talk about why I want to do this, I have a very burning vision. It's very clear in my mind. I want to help people end needless suffering. Pain is inevitable in this world, but suffering is optional, and I want to help people eliminate as much needless suffering as possible. I know I'm not going to get everybody, but I'm hoping to get as many people as I can to teach them and empower them, because this is something that I've learned and I want to share it, and I just feel called to do it. And then, of course, I see what's happening in the world, and if there's anything I could do to make a difference with that, that would be extraordinary. I mean, I would die with a smile on my face saying, boy, did I live? Brendan Bouchard always says, did you live? Did you love? Did you matter? Right? And I will feel like, yes, I have lived. Yes, I have loved. And yes, I have mattered. And that's pretty awesome for me. And so that is my vision and why I push so much, because sometimes people say, how do you get so much done? How is it possible for you to put out all this content all the time? Everybody I talk to, they're like, geez, you have so much content. And I'll tell you, sometimes it feels like it's not making a difference. I told someone yesterday, I said, I put out a lot of content, but I don't get a lot of engagement, right? And I wonder sometimes if it matters at all. If anybody even pays attention, if anybody even cares. And, no one, I might be literally making this podcast right now and nobody's listening to it, but I make it anyway. And it's because I've got to try. I got to keep putting it out there. Right? you miss 100% of the shots you never take. Wayne Gretzky said that, and he was one of the best hockey players that ever lived. He said you have to take the shot. If you don't take the shot, you guarantee you're not going to make anything, right? You're not going to score, you're not going to win. And so we've got to make sure that we take the shot. And so it drives me to keep taking the shot, to keep adding that value, because who knows? Maybe someone is listening today. Maybe it's you, and you're listening, and I'm doing this program just for you. And in my mind, you are someone who has this desire too. You're someone who wants to make a difference. You're someone who wants to feel like you matter. You're someone who wants to add value. You're someone who is recognizing their own self-worth and their own value, and so you're investing in you. Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins' original teacher, he said that if you want to be really successful and happy in life, invest more in yourself than you do in your business, right? Work harder on you than you do on anything else, and that's where you're going to have the biggest breakthroughs. And that's what you're doing right now. You're making a deposit into your success account, into your happiness account, into your emotional wealth account by listening to this podcast, by hanging out with me, and I get to hang out with you. And together, we both win. And that is amazing. And so when I get up and I think, all right, what am I going to do today? I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about how can I help you today? Because when I do that, it makes me feel good. And I also think that if I don't do that and you're having a hard time, that sucks. I need to step up, right? And so I need to be there for you. So that drives me, right? So I hope that you're getting value from this. And I want you to ask yourself now, what really drives you? Okay, what really lights you up? What ultimately is going to give you that sense of purpose? So last night, I haven't been feeling good the last couple of days. And so when I was laying there about 7 o'clock last night, I laid down in bed and I had my laptop and I thought, well, I just did a keynote and it had some really good takeaways, and so I would love for you to see some of those. And so I thought, well, I'll just edit maybe part of them. I like to take like an hour keynote and break it down into little 3 or 4 minute segments and bite-sized segments and share them. And so I started breaking down some of those, and I thought, and then maybe I'll just watch a little bit of a movie and fall asleep. And for some reason, I wanted to just kind of watch a movie and fall asleep to try to relax and recharge. However, I kept feeling like, well, you know what, maybe I'll get a couple more of these clips done. And so I'm watching the clock and it's 8 o'clock and then it's 8:30 and I'm like, I don't want to stay up too late. So if I'm going to watch this movie, I better do it. And then pretty soon it's 9 o'clock and I'm realizing my window to watch a movie is disappearing. And then pretty soon it's 10 o'clock and I'm like, you know what, forget about the movie. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to be really happy that I edited all these video clips and I have all this cool stuff to share with you instead of, that I watched a movie. And that caused me to go to bed last night with a smile on my face, and I woke up this morning happy and excited because I have like 6 clips now that I can share with you that are really, really good. And so if you haven't gone to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Shurr Success, that's SHURR Success, now all of a sudden you have all these clips and it's pretty amazing. And I'm excited to share those with you. So make sure you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe because then you'll get to see them all. And so that drove me, right? And so now for you, the question is, if you have your vision and you're passionate about it and you know exactly why you want to do the things you want to do, it'll cause you to take action when you don't feel like it. It'll cause you to lean in when you don't want to lean in. It'll cause you to do those extra things and take those extra action steps, even when you don't feel like taking those extra action steps. And that's really powerful. And so that's one of the secrets to accomplishing your goals and getting things done and being able to get things done faster than anybody else. It's because you're leading with vision. And that's why your vision needs to be so strong. So this week, I want you to make sure you take some time and think about what you're ultimately getting out of what you're doing. What is achieving your goal ultimately going to do for you? Because when you do that, boy, it's a game changer. It changes everything. It gets you in the right state of mind. It causes you to dig in. It causes you to lean in. It causes you to feel more purpose-driven. And then, when people have a purpose and a sense of mission, they just feel more excited about the day. If you don't, then people just wander through the day trying to get through it, and that's not a good use of your day. You can never get this day back, so make it count. All right, thanks so much. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day. Make today a sure success, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, would you like more free tips on how to be a mesmerizing leader? Then check out mesmerizingleadership.com, and also hang out with me on Facebook, facebook.com/Tim Shurr. Thanks so much, and make your day a sure success.